Welcome to the Truth and Fertility podcast. My name is Haley and I am your host. I work at an OBGYN clinic where I teach women and couples how to chart their cycles so they can either achieve or avoid pregnancy and also to manage their fertility. I have a huge passion to teach women and couples about the beauty of their fertility and how the pill is never the answer to women's health. There's a lot of good and not so good information out there about fertility. And so my goal with this podcast is to help you sort out the truth from the weeds. I want to teach you how to chart your cycle and to reach your family planning goals while also maybe even possibly locating hormonal imbalances and to receive proper treatment. I want to help you get in the best hands that you can with the best doctors that you can to reach optimal reproductive health. So if you're ready to get on this journey with me to learn more about your reproductive system, how it was created and how it should be working, and the best medicine in order to make it work if it's not, then you are in the right place. Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Truth and Fertility podcast. My name's Haley. I'm your host. And today I really want to just dive into a topic that I hear very often. It's not necessarily a complaint, but it's something that I hear from a lot of women that are struggling with some sort of reproductive issue, whether that be endometriosis, PCOS, irregular cycles. And what I hear is, oh, I'm just going to deal with that later. I'm going to deal with that when I'm married. Oh, it's not a huge issue right now, so it's not really something I need to think about. Wrong. This is my whole passion. One of the things that I'm incredibly passionate. Well, okay, here's the two things that I'm passionate about. First of all, getting women off the birth control pill. Let's tell you what it's doing. Let's tell you everything about it that your doctor isn't telling you about. And they probably don't even know about it either, to be honest. I have an episode on that. I'll link it in the show notes below. My second passion is helping specifically single women, young adult women that are not married, not trying to have babies right now, but are still experiencing something wrong with their fertility, something wrong with their reproductive system. And this goes back to my story. My passion comes from my story. I always had irregular cycles, and it wasn't until I was 18 that I realized, oh, there is another option than just the pill. Because right now, the typical kind of protocol for a young woman when she's going to the doctor saying she has irregular periods, she gets put on the pill. And that's honestly no fault of, well, it is fault of the doctor, but in all reality, it's fault of the people who taught them in medical school, who say that this is the proper protocol. It's not healing the issue. It could be helping the symptoms, absolutely, but it's not getting to the root cause of what is causing those irregular periods. It's just putting a mask on the issue. And so what I see is kind of one of two things with these young women. They either do that where they go on the pill and they stay on it for years and years and years, whether they're sexually active or not, they're on it for years because it's quote unquote helping their symptoms, and it's again, quote unquote, regulating their cycle, which it's not. I also have an episode on that. I'll link it in the show notes below, but because I'm really trying not to get on a tangent here. But again, one of two things. They either stay on the pill for years and years and years, then they get married, and then they decide, okay, we're ready to have children. They get off of the pill, and then they can't. And they're wondering why. And they're struggling with infertility. And that in and of itself is a heartbreaking, very, very difficult journey that I've witnessed people walk through, and I've walked with people on that journey. And that's something that I don't want for anyone, right? And the other group of people that I see are the girls who say, okay, I don't want the pill. Either maybe they tried it in the past, but it gave them really bad side effects, which is a very common thing to happen, or they don't want it. They don't want to put those synthetic hormones in their body, but they don't know what their other options are. And so they just kind of live with the symptoms And sometimes those symptoms are just kind of annoying. They're not anything that's causing a lesser quality of life. Like they're just annoying. Like you don't know when your periods are coming. And that is, I guess, easier to live with. Some women have incredibly painful periods and they're just bent over crying for 1 or 2 days out of the month, maybe even having to call out of work. But they don't know what their option. They don't know if there is another option, right? So these are kind of the two things that I see. And so this really is why I have this passion, kind of twofold passion of let's teach you why the pill is not true medicine. It's not good medicine. It's not actually fixing the problem. Could be healing not healing, excuse me. It could be relieving your symptoms, but it's not healing anything. And then my other passion being, let's teach you this while you're young. Let's teach you this while you are not married. Let's teach you this while you are not trying to get pregnant, because this is exactly where my story comes in, right? If you've listened to my episode with my testimony, really, in my journey, my fertility journey, I went to the doctor at 16, was put on the pill for irregular cycles, and then didn't like that very much. Didn't have the greatest symptoms, side effects with that. So I wasn't on it for very long. Then at 18, I found another option. And this other option is the one that a lot of women don't find, or if they do, they find it too late. And it's learning to chart your cycle. Why can that be helpful? Okay, well, here's why. When you learn to chart your cycle, you are literally gathering data of your hormones, the types of biomarkers or signs that your body is giving you to help you understand your fertility. Those are all being orchestrated by your hormones. And so when you learn to chart your cycle, it is literally plotting data on a chart of what your hormones are doing. So when you chart your cycle, this is incredibly good data to give to a doctor, but not just any doctor. It needs to be a doctor that knows how to read those charts and then be able to diagnose and treat from there. So what this type of science, because not all doctors are able to do this, right? Not all doctors are knowledgeable of what a fertility chart looks like. And so in order to really be able to do this, you need to find a doctor that knows how to read a chart. And so the type of science, women's health science, that is used with these doctors that can read charts and train or treat from there is called NaProTechnology. Again, I have a whole other episode on that too. I'm going to have a lot of episodes linked in the show notes below today. But NaProTechnology is short for natural procreative technology. And so this type of health, of women's health, is getting down to the root cause of what is going on. It's not slapping a Band-Aid on it. It's not just trying to relieve your symptoms, although that is important, right? We want you to have a good quality of life. But rather than just relieving the symptoms by using a Band-Aid, aka the pill, let's relieve your symptoms by getting to the root of what is causing those symptoms and then healing it, right? Okay, so again, going back to my story. When I was 18, I went to this type of doctor that I'm talking about that knows NaProTechnology. They had me start charting my cycle. From there, they were able to see some red flags on my chart just based on my hormone movements and what my chart was reflecting, what my hormones were doing. They did some blood work. They did an ultrasound. And with that, I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS. I was 19 when I had this diagnosis, not married, not trying to have babies, but I knew I had PCOS with these irregular cycles. It's a very, very common diagnosis, especially now. I feel like a lot of women have PCOS now. So what did I do from there, right? I could have just said, okay, well, at least I know what's happening. But I'm not married. I'm not trying to get pregnant right now. So there's not really anything I need to do right now to fix this, right? I'll deal with that later. The other option that I did choose, which praise be to God I did, and I'm very, very grateful that I did, is I chose to tackle it then. as a single woman, not trying to get pregnant, but I chose to tackle it then. And I don't quite remember, honestly, my thought process of like why I chose to do that when I did, because I didn't necessarily have someone coaching me through this, except for the doctor I was working with, obviously. But I think it was just because I had this mindset of, okay, if something is sick, let's heal it. If something is wrong, let's fix it. And that's just kind of my personality as well. And so that's what I did. I went straight into treatment. I tried different medicines and I tried different diets, and it was, I'm not going to lie to you, it was a journey. It was not just oh, here's something that'll fix it. Bam, done. We're good. It was a journey of a few years of trying to figure out proper medications, proper doses, different diets, and spoiler alert, it was the diet change that helped things. So, and that's not the answer that people want, because that's the harder one, right? And I did put off changing my diet for a long time, especially because I was a college student at this point. No college student wants to change their diet and eat healthier, but that's what I ended up doing, and that's really what moved the needle. And I knew that it was moving the needle because I was consistently charting my cycle this whole time. And when you eat differently, or if you take different medications, those are going to change your hormones in some way. And so because they're changing your hormone balances, you can then see progress on your chart. So your chart is your data collection of this journey. I saw on my chart that I started ovulating, you guys. Before then, I don't think I was actually even ovulating. And ovulation is the most important event in the whole menstrual cycle. It is the most important. And so I could start seeing signs of ovulation on my chart for the first time when I had this diet change. And that made the difference. So when I'm talking to women who are single and who are struggling with irregular periods, or they're struggling with pain, or they're struggling with acne, or there's whatever it is that's showing that there is a hormonal imbalance, I always urge them to do it now. Get it looked at now. Go through that hard work now. Because when you get married, if you feel called to marriage and you feel that your future husband is out there, this is a gift to him by doing it now. I don't know if you hear any rustling right now, that is my third baby that I'm currently nursing as we speak. And I would not have her. I would not have my 3 children had I not gone through that journey as a single woman. Because remember, it took multiple years for me to get that whole thing figured out. It was a journey. It's not a quick fix. And so if you are a single woman listening to this and you have some sort of issue, maybe it's also like chronic migraines, or maybe it's, I don't know, bad PMS symptoms, something. If it's something that, also us women, we have an intuition, okay? And we really need to pay attention to that intuition, because oftentimes I'll get the question of like, okay, well, what are some signs that I need to go to a doctor? And I'll say like, okay, if you have 3 months of some unwanted symptom, or if you have 6 months of like your chart looking wonky, but no, not really any other symptoms to it. Like I'll try to give sort of kind of a guideline, but in all reality, I always say, if you have an intuition that something is wrong, if you don't feel right, go to a doctor. Go see a doctor. Learn to chart your cycles. And that is the first step on this healing journey for you. Because no one deserves any of those unwanted, horrible symptoms that come along with these hormonal imbalances that more and more women are having today. And so I just urge you, if it doesn't even matter if you're trying to get pregnant, especially if you are not trying to get pregnant, but you know that there's some sort of thing going on. I urge you to go get it looked at. Go get it checked out now. There is no other space in medicine that says there's something wrong. Oh, but we can wait. Like, there's no other space in medicine. If you have a broken bone, they're not going to wait to fix that. They're going to fix it now. If you have a painful, I don't know, you have chronic pain in your back, they're not going to say, oh, just, it's fine. You don't need your back right now. Like, no, they're going to try to fix it now. And so even though it may seem like, oh, you don't need your fertility right now because you're not trying to get pregnant, that is so false. Your fertility comes from your reproductive system, which is a whole organ system in your body. And that means that it is connected to all of the other organ systems in your body. It is just as important now to be healthy as it will be when you want to get pregnant one day. So go on that journey now. Do it now. And I'll leave you with this. Remember that this is not just for you either. What's really brilliant about the reproductive system is that it's the only system in your body that can only reach its full purpose with another person. Think about that. It is the only system in your body that it can reach its purpose, meaning procreation. That's the main purpose of our reproductive system, right? It can only reach its end, its main purpose, procreation, with another person. It cannot function fully on its own. Now, it can be healthy on its own, absolutely, but it cannot reach its full purpose on its own. And so when you get your reproductive system healthy, when you go on that journey, these little babies that come from it I know you hear mine right now, and it's just going to be, this is a gift to your future husband. It's a gift. A healthy fertility is a gift to your spouse, to your future spouse, whether you know him right now or not. So give that gift to him. It's not just for you. Now, if you're having a horrible quality of life because you're having a lot of pain, or it's annoying because you don't know when your periods are, that's your body telling you something's wrong. And you need to pay attention to that. And that is for you. Absolutely. But remember that it's not only for you. It is a gift to your future spouse. And to end with my story, that is exactly what it was. And I didn't know at the time that was what it was. I didn't know, like I couldn't have said that out loud before I met my husband as I was going through this journey. But looking back, that's absolutely what it was. Because remember, it was a few years of figuring out different medications, different diets. And so had I waited, had I either, stayed on the pill that I was on at 16, as a lot of women do, and I stayed on that, and then I got married, and then for whatever reason, couldn't get pregnant, that would have been heartbreaking. And that is a lot of women's stories, and I work with a lot of those women, helping them with this other option that they never knew. Or, if I still got off the pill as I did, but just didn't do anything about it, I don't know. I just think hands down, my husband and I would have had a different story with our fertility and with our family. And I now have a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 10-month-old who you're hearing right now because she woke up too early from her nap, and that's okay. But I would not have these blessings, these gifts, these amazing human beings in my life that I'm completely responsible for. I wouldn't have these 3 unique children had I not gone on that journey as a single woman. So if you're hearing this, if you're a single woman and there's something going on, you have that intuition, or you're having pain, or you have irregular periods, or maybe you even already have a diagnosis, but you don't know what to do with it because the only option you've been given is the pill. I'm telling you right now that there is another option. And so that is my mission, obviously, as I've mentioned already, is to help women find that other option. And my whole goal is to get this out there. So I urge you to go to truthandfertility.com. And I am now taking fully virtual clients from all over the country, all over the world, really, as long as you speak English, because unfortunately, that's the only language I speak. As long as you speak English, I can help you. I can help you navigate learning how to chart your cycle, because that is the first step on that journey. And then I can help you find the doctors that are going to have that other option for you, that are not just going to slap the pill on you or give you that's the only option, or shame you for not wanting that option, because I've heard too many of those stories too. But there is other options. So in the show notes, I'll also put a link called FertilityCare.org. And this is a really good website to find doctors that practice NaProTechnology, as I was speaking about earlier, and other practitioners or teachers in fertility charting as well. But if you want to work with me, I would love to work with you. So again, that's truthandfertility.com. It's fully virtual trainings. So I start with an intro session that's about an hour and a half long. You leave that session knowing a whole lot more about your body, about your anatomy, about your hormones, about your reproductive system. And then you also leave that session knowing the basics of charting your cycle. You leave that session starting to chart your cycle the next day. After that, we do one-on-one coaching. So there's follow-ups, very frequent in the first few months, just to hit the ground running. And then they do get a little more sporadic after that once you've become more confident and proficient with it. But this is my passion, and this is my goal in life, is to help women find that other option, learn to chart their cycle, locate any of those hormonal imbalances, and then get proper treatment from there. So again, last time, it's truthandfertility.com. Go check it out. If you have any questions, please feel free to shoot me an email at Haley, which is HALEY, at truthandfertility.com. It was so good to talk to you guys today, and I will talk to you guys again next week. Thank you for listening to the Truth and Fertility podcast. If you are enjoying this content, it would be amazing if you could leave a 5-star review. That helps me tremendously to be able to continue to produce these episodes for you. Remember that these podcasts are available on Apple, Spotify, and Amazon, and YouTube. And you can always go to my website, truthandfertility.com, to learn more. Thanks again for listening, and I'll talk to you again next week.